Welcome back, everybody, to Total Nonstop Impact Talk for Impact fans, featured right here on the TNI Network. This is Trent, my co-host, Jaybone and Bill, and this is the Throwback Show, NWA-TNA number 52. We're going to go ahead and break that down. Gentlemen, what's going on? I want to put that right out here because he just popped in, and I want him to hear it.
There you go.
Waiting backstage. He just popped in. We got a special guest to kick off the show. He's going to hang out with us just for a couple minutes. I'll tie it all in on who he is and what he's doing here. So he's going to be here in just a second. I'm going to patch him in. We didn't, no backstage prep, but he's a pro. He's an absolute professional podcaster. I'm going to bring him in just a second. But gentlemen,
and the Brian Myers of podcasts.
Very professional. Very professional. Gents, what's going on? How you guys doing? Everybody well?
It's good, man. It's good.
Let's jump in right away. Jaybone, I'm going to pull him in right now. We got Chad E and B from the two-man power trip and the three-man power trip, which is the podcast of the franchise. Shane Douglas. I'm going to bring him in cold here. Chad,
what's up?
Nice. Welcome.
How's it going?
Did we lose Trent already? Oh no.
We lose when he throws up. See, this is the beauty. See, I don't have my face on tonight, so I can't enable the video. But that's what I do. See, I come into places and I take over for the host. So I hate to say it, but you guys are in my world now.
Oh wait, Trent's back. He's back.
I'm sorry, my internet just decided to snap out for the chat. Are you there? I'm sorry.
Was it something I said? I don't know.
Come on, man. He's our guest, Trent. Come on.
It might have, I did the intro, and all of a sudden my internet decided to say no. You can't talk to Chad. So, what's up, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I mean, I'm hobbling through life. My Achilles tendon is acting up. I got a vicious heel spur that is like the death blow of a lifetime. So I'm in a lot of pain. I usually have the video enabled and the cool background going on, but I just said before you crapped out, I said I don't have my face on this evening, so I'm an avatar.
No worries. So a literal heel turn is what happened to you today.
Yeah, but I have to correct you. It's the Triple Threat podcast. Come on, it's the franchise. It can't be the three-man power trip. It's the Triple Threat podcast.
I apologize.
Which we got some chance of at the beginning of this episode.
I listen every week and I still botch. My apologies.
All right.
Because there's so many you do so many podcasts, you know, and that's where I get thrown. But it's a Triple Threat podcast. Yes, the Triple Threat. So yes. Well, listen, Ben, we wanted to have you. I appreciate you hopping on last minute here. I know I know you're in a lot of pain. I just wanted to pull you in. We do the Throwback Show every Thursday. This one, your good friend, the franchise Shane Douglas, was very prominent. Kicked off the show. He's officially on the show now and in the mix. So I wanted you to come on and promote the Triple Threat podcast. You know what Shane does, how your connection to him. You know, take a few minutes, just put it over.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, a lot of things about, and I told you the last time we spoke, you know, how much I love this idea of going back and looking at these old NWA-TNA shows, because if you were a fan at the time, you realize how much now it meant then, but I don't think the fans today realize this was such a big thing, because these are the guys that were not on any other product. These were the guys that were really... They were making a name for themselves in this NWA-TNA, but with Shane specifically, he was pretty much the hottest free agent at the time that he showed up in NWA-TNA. And I think that gets lost to time. And when Moxley left WWE, that's the closest I felt to when Shane was a free agent and landed in TNA. And I use that analogy on Triple Threat Podcast because of the fact when he hit TNA, he made an impact.
He sure did. And the thing was, and this episode, and Jay and Bill, you guys confirm this, this episode specifically calls out a very important thing about how he was the guy who threw the belt down, and you have Raven who's trying to revive it. And it was such a built-in feud and such a built-in road for him to go to the NWA title, and it blows my mind that they did not do it
right
in TNA at all. I mean, it's like mind-boggling to me that they didn't go with it.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
What I was going to say was this is something that we just started to talk about very recently on the Triple Threat, is that this was basically handed to them on a silver platter.
Yeah.
That they had. It was only 10 years removed at that point, not even 9 years removed. And that, you know, the stranglehold that Jeff Jarrett had on the TNA booking and the TNA direction suffered because Shane basically said, like, we have a built-in feud here. We have a story. And, I think the story with Raven was great and ended up being very memorable for what it was in those early TNA days.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there was a definite missed opportunity, and not even 10-year, stretch of Shane throwing down that title and then being in NWA TNA could have done a lot of good business.
It's crazy. Our friend Bill here wasn't you. Bill, you were in the audience when he threw the belt down, right?
You were there. In the audience, yes. That's
Very
when
cool.
I was. Yeah, me and my dad, we were regulars back then.
Yeah,
Love
he
it.
was there.
Wow.
He was
Well,
there.
I was there in Eastern during an early run, so like pretty much starting in like early '92, I started going to the monthlies.
Crazy. Great. We got the credibility built in here, Chad. We got some actual Philly folks here, doing this with us.
Usually, I'll reserve my comments about Philadelphia. It's not always so pleasant. I'm a Jersey guy, so Philly and Jersey. There's a natural rivalry.
Well, with Shane, is there a little Pittsburgh thing going on?
No, you know what? No, not really. My partner JP ribs them a little bit more about the Pittsburgh stuff than I do. I have a great affinity for Pittsburgh's sports history. I have more of a hatred for Philly sports history because, being a
Well,
Mets
is that
fan.
South Jersey or North Jersey? North Jersey?
No, it's central. So it's
Central.
we don't know what the hell we
infamous
want.
Central Jersey. Infamous Central Jersey.
We don't know what the hell we want. We're not necessarily the North, but if you call us the South, we'll be insulted.
That's usually how it goes with Central Jersey.
Oh, that's so. Chad, real quick, just so people know your connection to Shane. Anyone who is, we have some Russo brand subscribers in here for our brief stint on the Russo brand that we had. So there were some that came over and they're here today. But for those who don't know, what's your connection to Shane? How did that start? If you want to just mention, I don't want to keep it too long. I know you're in pain. You had the literal heel turn. But if you can just give us a little bit and then plug the shows, I want to.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and I would love to do a full show with you, in the coming weeks to talk about something else with Shane and what he's going to do here as the your weeks unfold. But yeah, I met Shane at an independent show in 2016, and also was an autograph signing attached to it. I do a lot of autograph signings and promotional work. And I met Shane at an independent show and was trying to just get him on the two-man power trip to do an interview. And just saw, we kind of hit it off pretty quickly talking about other things outside of wrestling. But Shane does that with a lot of people. He's very, very friendly. He's very, very communicative, conversational. But it just, so happened after we interviewed him weeks after, we kept in contact and we'd see him again at more shows, and it just became a natural thing to discuss. Hey, let's think about doing a weekly show with him. And we've been doing it now for almost 3 years, and very, very close. I would consider very good friends. But the show itself is a very niche show. You're a fan of the franchise. You've heard the show. We're on the Russo brand. We're on the two-man power trip feed for about a year and a half. And you want to hear the franchise, you're going to come and hear the franchise. He's going to say things that other people don't want to hear, but every time he opens his mouth, he ruffles somebody's feathers. And that has never changed. And that's what I love about doing shows with him and talking to him off air. He is 100% the franchise.
That's
all
true.
day, every day. And we've all become really good friends. Him, John, my partner, and Shane, thick as thieves for many years now. He is
awesome.
Such a smart guy. He just hearing him talk. He's just an intelligent guy. He has an instant credibility when he speaks. Whether you agree or disagree with him, I always listen. I'm like, yeah, I mean, he knows what he's talking about. He's not full of shit. He knows what he's saying here. So I love that. Jay, I don't think I've ever asked you. Were you a franchise guy, older days and stuff like that? I thought you said you watched a lot of his older stuff, even pre-ECW, even the early WCW stuff.
I'm really not. I certainly know who he is. He's a very, prominent person in the 90s, and a little bit later wrestling history. But he wasn't a focus of mine, but I'm very excited now that he's a part of our reviews so I can see this chapter of it. It is a goal of mine someday to really dig deep into the classic ECW history and really see how the 90s went into the early 2000s and that the controversial inception of the brand that it was back then.
Yeah, Chad, the interesting thing is, so Jaybone here, this is his first time watching the Asylum shows as we've been
Oh,
doing.
wow.
Yeah, so I'm rewatching for the first time since they aired. Bill watched them back in the day too. And so this is Jay's first time. So we're he's learning all of this. Like who came, I mean, the thing that shocks him is like, who didn't come through TNA in those days?
That's the crazy part. And a lot of people might not realize that was the lore to the shows, is that you literally didn't know who was going to show up, and like you'd see, oh my gosh, Kurt Hennig is here. Oh my God, the Road Warriors are here. I don't know where you're on the timeline, so I don't want to spoil anybody.
Oh, we're there. We already saw them.
I saw Jim Duggan just showed up. You know, Rick Steiner just shows up. It was anybody who wasn't under the WWE umbrella. It was literally anything could happen. And now guys that you hadn't seen on TV in 10 years were coming back, maybe since WCW. It really became that pay-per-view model became really smart, because you were luring people in that were like, oh my God, I don't want to watch Raw right now, but I would love to see the Road Warriors in action next week. You know, it was a brilliant model. I always loved the pay-per-views.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it's been a blast to rewatch them. Like, it's funny because we do the Tuesday show where we review Impact on Tuesday nights as a post show, and that's our flagship, which gets the most coverage and everything, most live viewership. And this one is so niche, but I absolutely this is my favorite to do. I just love rewatching this old stuff and reliving some of these things. And me being such a big Shane Douglas fan, a small connection, Chad, if you want to bring this up. Shane is great friends with so I work for AAW Pro in Chicago. He's good friends with the owners, Danny Daniels and Mike Petkovich. They said please pass the pleasantries on to Shane. So tell him the AAW guys say hello.
I absolutely will.
But I remember, I think I shared the story with you when we did Freeland's show, but I'll never forget, and Bill and Jay, I don't think I told you guys this. They did like a WrestleMania watch party at 115 Bourbon Street, which is Bill, you guys have both been there. It's a venue here in Chicago. And just a watch party, have dinner, hang out, big screen, 70-inch screen, right, Chad? Shane was the like kind of celebrity guest to just come out and just hang. And I swear to you, he just he worked the room and charmed the shit out of every single table, and everybody felt like $1 million after he was. And I wasn't working for the company at the time. I was there with my friend, and I was like, "It's the coolest thing." I'm like, Shane Douglas, and he just hung out with us while we had dinner and watched WrestleMania, and just like had a good time. We're like, "What the hell just happened here?" But
That's pretty awesome. There really is.
Oh, he's so charming. It's incredible. But he's great to talk to. And I envy you. You get to talk to him every week.
I mean, I can even take it one step further. Almost every day, you know, he's always got something to say about something. But it's one of those things. Look, I never take for granted, and that's you can take that to the bank every day. All the shows I've done, all the guys I've been around, all the guys I've worked with, met, done, interviewed, done shows with. I do a show with Francine as well. These things, I don't take 1 second of it for granted. But with Shane, I put him on such a pedestal in terms of what he has brought to the wrestling industry. And I feel like the quote smarter fans from our era appreciate a guy like Shane because he was around every promotion. He was around every big name. He was around every big moment. He's made a lot of big moments too. And he just doesn't get the due on the mainstream level he should. But he gives back to the fans whenever he's around them. And that is the thing you can never take. He'll say he's a heel. He will always say he's a heel. But he is he's charming. He is a great guy to chat with. And literally will give you go up to get his autograph, you got 20 minutes ahead of you. If there's, the end of the line or, you're getting close to his time. It is an amazing guy to get to meet whenever shows get back to being done in person again, and you can meet the franchise in your town.
Absolutely. No, I can attest to it. He was great to me when I met him as a fan, and just one of the all-time greats. And you know what? Like you said, he doesn't get that due, that first tier due, but it's also because he didn't play the political BS. Right. To get that either, he was a genuine guy. He's always been a genuine guy. And one thing, Chad, I want to one day, if he ever has time, we do this throwback. If he can do a run in, I want to tell this to him too at some point.
Well, you can get him to come on Triple Threat first, and then we'll.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
I absolutely adore his respect for Dominic Danucci, his trainer, and basically like a father figure to him. His respect for him that he showed, and if you guys don't know, if you guys aren't listening to the Triple Threat pod, the respect he shows for Dominic DeNucci is unbelievable. It's one of those things where like I wish everybody treated their elders this way and even at Shane's age, it's incredible. I love that, Chad. I every time he speaks about it, it just makes me endears it to me more.
It's great. And, and I've met Dominic through Shane, and, they have that, I would say it's like that sitcom dynamic when they travel together to shows, there's,
it's great.
The two personalities, but he has such an esteem for Dominic and what Dominic gave him by, training him as a young kid, and even going further back to when he was, promoting basically backyard shows back in Pittsburgh when he was just a young guy, just a wrestling fan, and Dominic being such a presence in that area. There is no shed of anything but respect, and it's amazing the stories he has. And Dominic, it's another one. He's been forgotten by mainstream companies. He is not recognized. He's not in the Hall of Fame. He's left off a lot of lists, and it kind of that sucks. But they're perfect for each other in that regard.
True.
The true fan appreciates them. And Dominic. Still, quick as a whip. He's great to be around. Very funny guy. I love Dominic, and I know Shane still holds him in such a high regard.
And he's 90. Is that correct?
He's either 89, 88, 89, or 90. I don't have it in front of me, but he is late 80s, approaching 90 at least.
And he's a former tag team champion up north. That's what we call it. We refer to it as up north on this show.
I love it. Hey, technically it is. So I really. I agree. And I'll tell you what, I mean, just again, back to how cool the concept is of what you guys do, that building, the asylum, even though, being from New Jersey and in the Northeast and being a part of these indie shows in the Northeast at this time in mid 2000s, you always heard about the asylum. You always heard about the shows there and the environment. And it just seems like such a cool place to be. Yeah. That I think that they're just as big a part of the show, on the asylum itself than the cool roster that TNA had at the time. So very cool, underrated venue in my opinion.
Did you ever get to go?
No, never mind.
Bill and I got to go last year for the homecoming show, the last show that they did there. We got to go it was January 19, wasn't it, Bill?
Yeah, maybe a little earlier, maybe like the 5th, 7th, like was that first or second week of
No, I meant 2019.
Oh yes. Yeah, 19. Yeah, not this past year.
Yeah, no, this past year. Forget about this past year.
Hard to kill this past year.
Hey, much to remember this year. But yeah, Chad, it's been a blast. And that building has the crowds are just incredible. Like we see who they pop for. Like, man, I never realized like D-Lo was that over. We're like, it's blown our minds like who was over. And I just forgot because I watched them all initially, but just to see it again has been a treat, man. And then, like I said, Shane just showed up, and he's starting off the feud with Raven, and they did the fireball gimmick with Jim Mitchell now. So the infamous head carving, not shaving, the carving of his head is coming up.
that is just so painful to watch. And,
oh God,
it's just one of those things you feel like that's the worst thing that could happen in a head shaving finale, and like the fact that it didn't. I just was listening to something Roddy Piper was talking about when they shaved Adrian Adonis's head, like how nervous he was because he's seen how bad it can go, and that the razor wasn't working on Adonis, and they were cutting him with the scissors instead. And you see what happened to Raven, and it's like, oh my God, like I can't imagine what was going through his head.
Oh God, well, razor, right? The blade. I think Shane talked about it on your show that Mitchell was going the wrong way, right? And that's what happened.
Yep.
Oh God, when Shane was describing, I said, "Oh, geez!" Like, and Raven didn't wince, and I was like, I mean, he didn't like stop them. He just took it, and it's an infamous scene that's in all their highlight videos. So we're gonna see that. I think it's coming up in a few weeks on where we're at here. So
always shave up and down, never shave sideways.
That's right.
if you can't learn that at this point, then I got nothing for you.
There you go. I guess why we have beards. But but Chad, go ahead and plug the show, plug all your shows, whatever you want to get out there. Please do. We put this out everywhere. This is on Twitch. We're live right now, YouTube and Twitch. And then we put it out. We publish on all podcast platforms and everything. So it gets out there, and I want to bring as much attention to you guys because I absolutely love your show. I love what you guys do. All the other shows you and JP, the stuff you guys have done on the 2-man, the guests you get. I think I told you this too. The guests you get blows my mind. And how you coordinate that blows my mind.
It's been quite the ride. We're approaching the 6-year anniversary of the Two-Man Power Trip in January. And for all the shows in the Two-Man Power Trip of Wrestling Empire, it's tnptempire.com. Around the beginning of COVID time, I had to kind of take a step back because of my job. And JP literally took the ball, and he didn't just run with it. He literally barreled over everybody and, scored 75 touchdowns on one run. And what he's done and the shows he's created and the stuff he's brought to the network is just out of this world. So you can follow all that on tnptempire.com. For the Triple Threat podcast, it's on the Vince Russo brand. December's coming to a close. You could have had a month for free and enjoyed the Triple Threat podcast in video and audio format with the franchise every week. Him and, as he would say, his magnificent coif that he still has.
Oh, the coif.
A lot of older guys in wrestling don't have that magnificent blonde locks that the franchise still has, and he'll let you know it every single week.
Every week.
But please, join us on the Russo brand. We've been there for about a year and a half, and it's a great community. It's a great group of supporters, and I can't say enough positive things about Vince Russo and the stuff he's done for the Two-Man Power Trip and the Triple Threat podcast. And if you want to hear more from me, I also do a show with Francine, which is exclusively on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Francine podcast. But we also drop our audio once a week on the Creative Control Network. So you don't get our Patreon content, which is where we do a lot of cool stuff. We do some of the most innovative and different podcasting I've ever done, to include our watch-alongs, which if you're an ECW fan, this is what you want to hear, because she was in the middle of everything for ECW. And it's quite the journey. And for me, on Twitter and Instagram, it's at ChadEMB. It says it here on the screen. Very plain and simple, so I don't forget that, because that'll be the last thing I mention. And my website is ibexclusives.com. I do a lot of autograph signings and stuff on the side. If you're looking for something cool, come on over and check it out.
Beautiful. We'll get all those links in our description too, Chad, after the show, and then people can find that. But yeah, listen, man, thank you guys. Thank you both so much, or all three of you, for what you do on the show. And thank you for coming on. It's been great to talk to you again. We'll absolutely get you on again for a long-term one after the holidays.
I would love to do a whole show. I would absolutely love to go back and watch a show. Give me a date. Give me something the franchise is main eventing, and I will be back to kiss his ass all day long, because they can all kiss our asses, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that they just got their asses franchised. I'll just steal all his catchphrases.
Oh, that's great. I'll have you do it. I mean, if we can't pin him down, we'll have you do it. But no, maybe what we'll do is, how about this, Chad? We'll try to aim for the head shave episode.
Yes, please, absolutely.
I'm not sure what number that is, but I'll give you enough advance on when that is. Jay will watch and let me know, and then we'll give you a heads up. Because he usually makes the artwork. So Jay, I'm sure that's going to be the artwork for that week. Will be the head shave going on. So you let me know when that one is coming up, and then we'll get it all watched up, and I'll let you know, Chad, with enough time so you can go back, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I forgot to also mention the show I do called New Generation Declassified, which I invited you on.
Yes.
And you big time me because of your little Impact show. So I don't want heat for that, but come on.
Well, wait a minute. He invited me, guys, and I'm going to tell you, to my two co-hosts, he invited me on Tuesday night, then our flagship night. Now, if I would have left, the two of you would have been lost. Okay, I got to be there. Chad, no, listen. I'm sorry, I had to big time you, but maybe we'll work a deal out. Any other day but Tuesday, I'll be there with you.
That's all right. I know a guy that knows the guy. We'll hopefully get you on. But guys, look, have a great show. Thank you very much for having me. Enjoy the holidays, Christmas, whatever else you celebrate, New Year's. I appreciate you guys and what you do. And Trent, is great to talk to you again. And don't be a stranger, and have a great one.
Absolutely. Thank you, buddy. Our best
care,
JP
Chad.
and franchise, too, please.
See ya later.
See you, bud. Good, everybody. Chad EMB, everybody. Thank you very much. That was great, man. That was a nice little run-in from Chad. Listen, he is
very cool.
He's got a great voice. He's got the podcast voice now. He's got that smooth tone. He's perfect for a podcast. But he mentioned the Francine podcast. Now, Bill, you can attest to this. You were there front row, I'm sure, or a couple rows.
Well, usually second row.
Second row. He said,
The old man's like, no front row for you, kid. Settle down.
You're not sitting next to that creep in the Hawaiian shirt and the straw hat.
Exactly. Straw hat guy, no way.
I gotta say, if you needed convincing, Francine looks absolutely stunning today, even. So it's worth the Patreon if you want to sign up and watch Francine. She looks gorgeous, even
Eyes
today.
up here.
It's called Eyes Up Here. That's what the podcast is called. The Eyes Up Here podcast.
Nice.
So, but awesome. Listen, again, thanks to Chad. Check out the 2-Man Power Trip and the Triple Threat Pod. They are great pod. I'm a huge franchise mark. You guys, 2 weeks in a row I wore the t-shirt.
Yeah, I thought you might have it on again.
No, I didn't have it on.
I thought it could stand up on its own at this point.
Not today, pal. But I considered it though. It did go through the wash. It's nice and crisp right now. So, but cool. Jaybone, I didn't see any comments. I was talking to Chad, but if there's any good comments, toss them up. But let's kick it off, guys. This is episode number 52, NWA-TNA Nashville Asylum, the TNA Asylum. So July 22nd, 2003. Now
no, July 2nd.
So it's July 2nd,
right
sorry.
Before the 4th of July.
That's right, July 2nd, 2003. Now I was on Dave's couch, probably planning our 4th of July party that was about to happen 2 days later on that Friday to Saturday. Well, Jaybone, where were you? July 2nd, 2003. Oh, no.
Probably burning some brats, drinking too many beers, telling my kids to go mow the lawn. Hey, you go mow the lawn.
This isn't quite 4th of July, Jaybone. This is 2 days before the 4th now. Were you still burning brats and telling people?
Trent, this is Wisconsin. It's
beer.
It's beer and brat. It's always the 4th of July around here. It's kind of like New Year's Eve, only different. We just New Year's Eve we wear a hat. That's the only difference.
Right, point taken. Bill, what about you? July. This is concert season for Bill now. We found this out last week.
Yes. Although now we're near the 4th of July, could this be one of those summers? Maybe I was down the Jersey Shore. We were just talking Jersey.
Oh,
I may have been down in Wildwood. Could have been down there.
Surfing? What are you doing out there?
No, there's no surfing on the East Coast. Come on, Trent.
Come on, man.
If you drove, maybe you could boogie board. That's about it.
Okay,
boogie boarding. That's about all you can get away with.
I'm gonna give you that one. So you're a boogie board.
But usually I'm more of an off-season guy because it's cheap. I'm an off-season guy. But that may have been a year I was either mixing in concerts because I was always doing concerts over the summer. Or I may have actually been down the shore this time. Yeah.
All right. Cool. So pretty tame. Kicking off your summer in style. We're not doing new. People are asking about the news. No news right now. We did news on Tuesday. We'll recap news on Sunday. Throwback is strictly throwback. We don't have to redo
there is news. A little bit of a throwback in news.
Oh, what do you got? You got to throw something out there? Good.
Well, and we were there for one of these in the past. Mm-hmm. But that Super X Cup is coming back.
Super X
That's
Cup.
Pretty much the whole theme of Genesis, it seems.
It's the Super X Cup.
Genesis, Super X Cup, very throwbacky.
Very throwbacky. The last time that Super X Cup was the winner was Desmond Xavier, who had just recently departed. And
that really puts a timeline on that because that was when he started, I believe, and he just exited now, and so this was his whole time in Impact Wrestling. So I'd like it to be a yearly thing, but I suppose depending on who you want to get in it and how big the company is at the time, they were really in a turning the page time in the company when they did it. They had a lot of different people coming in, going out after a couple tapings. The roster was a little tumultuous at the time, I believe. It was when I started watching again on a regular basis, just to tell you. And there's still a few faces from that old tournament that I wish that they had signed at the time. But hey, it's all,
But the Super X Cup always has been something where they would bring one-offs. Sometimes international partner promotions. You can see that again. Obviously, New Japan just had the Super J Cup. Could it almost be a similar roster?
It could be.
We see some of those same participants for this, maybe.
That J Cup was held in the U.S., correct?
It was in California. Yep.
West Coast, yeah.
Might be hanging around. I mean, nobody's really going back and forth. They might be around, available. Last time you had, I know ACH made an appearance. That was his Impact appearance at the time. I remember that was very interesting because I didn't know he was doing it, and he's a prominent AAW guy. So when I saw he was there, I said, "What the hell are you doing here?" you don't know who's going to show up at the X Cup.
No.
They've had some awesome.
Oh yeah, one of Jaybone's favorites on that other program we watched last night. He was on that show.
Who was that?
Sammy.
Yeah, Guevara. It's right.
Sammy Guevara, and he has just shined the last few years, really coming into his own. And it doesn't hurt that Y2J is his best friend. But
Jaybone, that little crackling noise of your lollipop is what we were getting grilled for by a new listener on our county.
Is it that loud? Is it that loud? I apologize.
I don't know. I'm not sure if we can throw Jaybone under the bus.
I don't. Well, the reason I joke about it is I don't know what he was referring to. He's like, "There's a crackling." I go, "Well, what?" And Jaybone even said, "Is it my lollipops?" I said, "It's not like you're doing it the whole time." That's
a little occasional rapper sound.
Yeah, it's not much.
It's subtle. I don't think that. I assume it was something else. I'd have to go back. Well, that was a couple weeks ago, right? That wasn't the most recent. That was the first Kenny appearance, right?
That was the first Kenny appearance that he left that comment.
I'll have to check the videotape. I haven't had a chance.
You guys in the chat, if you do hear something that you're saying it's like a crackling noise, let us know. We'd like to, nip that in the bud or the butt, whatever the hell that term is, at some point. But let's kick it off, man. NWA-TNA number 52. This was packed. Jay texted me earlier in the day and said, "This one's packed. What do we even do for the artwork on this one?" I go, "Surprise me. Surprise me." I don't even know what the hell we're gonna put, but just surprise me.
Yeah, because on the website, on the Impact Plus, Punk is the cover, and that's the first match between him and Shane, the franchise. And I was like, "Ooh," because I'm a big Punk mark, but then I was like, "All right, well, these episodes have been really like all over the place as far as action, hardcore,
much
excitement." So I'm like, let's just see what happens. And Abyss got his first official match here, so I was like, "Oh, the legend Abyss. He's the
famer."
Hall of Famer, yes.
Blows my mind that
CM Punk got Mickey Galed in this episode.
Mickey Galed. But again, it blows my mind that Abyss's first match did not happen until episode 52. A year's worth of shows. That's crazy. That to me, it's like we've always associated him with day one guy. He was on show one. We're gonna keep repeating that. He's on show one, but not as Abyss. He's on as Prince Justice, unmasked. Of course, Joe Park. So and it's like it's crazy to me. So, but the debut is cool, and the little factoid that comes with his name on this episode is really interesting. We're gonna get to that in a second. So we kick it off. Franchise. We get a little recap of 51. A video montage, a Jeremy Borash special, Bill. One of those video JB specials.
Well, I can't wait till we talk about JB later.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I'm gonna let you take that when it comes up. You just call it out. We open up with a franchise in the ring cutting a promo. He's wearing a Raven t-shirt, which as we saw, my buddy Dave, my good pal Dave, would join us for an episode, was wearing that very t-shirt. The Flock
nice
U t-shirt. Very rare shirt, guys. That's one that Bill, I think is it on your periphery? If you come across it, does that get picked up?
If I came across it, I'd pick it up. If I saw almost any of these old TNA shirts from back then,
oh yeah,
other than the handful I have, I'm sure I'd grab them.
The one I'd love to get is the first black and white one, black and white logo with the huge TNA on the back.
Yeah,
that's
a nice shirt.
It's on eBay and it's $150 in my size.
Whoa!
See, brand new, guys. Like it's brand new, wrapped and everything. That hasn't been touched. It was just an extra one or whatever. Brand new. He's even got the colored version of it. Brand new.
Oh, he got both of them.
He got both of them.
Worked there.
Oh, I'm sure it's secured, Usher or something. But he's got them for 150 steep dollars.
Steep.
The Raven one though, Bill, does come around once in a while. It does pop up. I'm not gonna say it hasn't. I've seen that once in a while. So
yeah, for such a big Raven fan, I've been forever. I might have like 2 Raven shirts. I don't have a lot of Raven.
Oh, really? The one I still got is the Ankh that he had in WCW. I got that one. The Ankh T-shirt that he wore during the Flock days. That's the only one I got. But we get the franchise cutting a promo, and he says, "This is the irony, guys. You too would appreciate this, Jay. I love this line. He goes, the sensor in the truck better have his finger on the button because you don't know what the franchise." And then he swears, and he I think he almost like he beeped himself. He's like, you know what the franchise is gonna fucking say.
Yeah, he kind of censors himself. Like he's making sure they're ready. Yeah.
It's hilarious given the censor's history. That's the best part about it. the censor on TNA.
Censors.
What censor?
Yeah, exactly. The selective censor, Mr. Selective.
But that now tells me when you were on Dave's couch.
Yes.
No funny business. They were
got his mic.
They were censoring it live back then.
That's
the impression that Shane gave. I didn't think that was the case.
They tried. The way they would censor would be like you know, and you notice here there's a couple of moments where it's a few things back to back, a few swear words back to back. They'd miss the first one, but then they'd be like, "Oh shit," and then be ready to hit more. So
that was Keith Mitchell,
or whoever it was. So it was like they never get the first one ever. You know, they would never catch the first one. It's always like the guy be ready to get more afterwards. That's what it was.
That was a pay-per-view. What were they censoring?
Exactly. They really weren't. That's the thing. They tried. They would censor the wrong word. Like, they really never happened. To be honest, it would never really got censored. So it was pretty open, pretty Wild West. But he talks about what I mentioned in the chat earlier about Raven. Raven's fine. You know, he's in the burn unit. He's going to be back. I talked to him. He's in the burn unit. He's going to be back next week. But this is the best part. He goes, Raven tried to resurrect a belt that I threw down August 27th, 1994. Like, this is a great Shane Douglas promo. This is classic. Jay, this is like, if you didn't see a lot of Shane.
I remember when I started watching this brand, he was a backstage guy. He was pretty much done with wrestling at this point. And he was still quite the character, but it was real limited, and I'm really enjoying this. So like I said, I absolutely want to dig into the ECW Classic someday because I know there's some great history there, some great wrestling, some great hardcore stuff, all of the above, crazy women stuff. And I know Shane's a big part of that. So I'm enjoying what I'm seeing so far. I mean, he's really – talk about outspoken promo guys. I mean, just the in-ring stuff I know is good, but the promo stuff I'm really latching on to. I love it.
He's fantastic. Bill, you're lucky enough to be there live for a lot of these, even the Extreme Reunion stuff that you saw later on. I know you were at those too, weren't you?
I was at some of them. They did a couple different versions of them, and I was at a few of them. It was interesting to see who would work different ones because there were some guys that would work like all of them, but then there were some that would not work kind of with the other ones. It was kind of interesting to see the split among the old ECW guys. Like they kind of like it was almost like if you want to look at like music, it was like this guy's version of the Temptations versus this guy's version of the Temptations.
Good comparison.
It was like this was like the ECW reunion show versus this ECW reunion.
That's a perfect comparison, actually. That's exactly what it was. The one that Shane was involved in were really solid. And that's when they hung the new banners on. I remember they did the retirement banners for a couple of those. So those were good.
Because they were using the building. Building. Obviously, up north, who got a lot of the big talent as well, they kind of did not acknowledge much of the old history.
But Shane's interesting. Not to spend too much time. I know we got a review to do, but Shane's an interesting character. Remember, he started off in the 80s. He trained with Mick Foley. Him and Mick Foley, same training class. He started Mid-South. He did the Shane was a territory guy. And a lot of people don't know this, Jay. A young Troy Martin, who became Shane Douglas, was in the WWF in 89, 90, 91. He was doing the house show circuit. He did, young kid coming up. And he did a lot of those shows. If you watch old tapes, house show tapes, the super tapes, young Shane Douglas, or even Troy Martin, he was called at the time. That was him. And he was a young, good-looking baby face. They were trying to build up. Didn't really know what to do with him. He left there, did some more territories. He was early ECW, short hair. Bill would know this too. The two eras of his ECW, it's like short hair Shane and long hair Shane. Same voice though, same mouth, but like the two looks.
The long hair was towards the end of ECW, I want to say.
Yeah, because
is that accurate?
Yeah, because he had the short. He went did Dean Douglas. Totally forget that. Came back and then he was just full of pits and vinegar. Grew the hair out. I mean, that was the run. To me, that was the run for him. The 95, 96 on run. 96, I would say more so. And that was just, then he went to WCW and all that stuff. But he was just fantastic. Just a fantastic guy. But cuts a great promo here. Just fires it up. And he says, I sold my soul to the devil, which a little thing about Jim Mitchell right there.
Oh, yeah.
He's standing in the ring. The Clockwork Orange House of Fun match is all set up. And he's like, there's no Raven. It's supposed to be him, but he's not here. And then who answers the call? Jaybone, you're one of your favorites here.
One of my favorite. Yeah, I was like, I'm excited for this because this is still part of CM Punk's early run here, and damn, he's so unpredictable. Very fun to watch. CM Punk did some crazy shit in this match.
Young CM Punk
when he was up in the corner, did the spinning chair shot off the top rope to Shane. Was one of the more memorable ones he did in here. But man, they did a great back and forth, and I'm learning early that Shane is a great worker, because one thing you see with veterans, especially around this time, is sometimes they'll no-sell stuff for the younger generations.
Yes.
The young bucks, pardon the expression. And he, but man, they had a great back and forth. I mean, he really let Punk get some stuff in here.
He's a smart guy, because Shane always said, I knew what it was like to be that kid, Like, he gets it. He was that kid. And he's just like Chad was saying, he's a great guy. He gets the business. He's out to give back. And he wasn't going to tank this kid on a platform like this when he had a chance to do something special with him.
Yeah.
But they have a fun match. It was great. Belly to belly suplex. That was his go-to. That was Shane's finisher. Takes the win. Jim Mitchell comes down, blows the fireball in Punk's face. The fireballs aren't working for me on this, though. These are some. Now, they tried something different, Bill, right? They did a little. Go ahead, Jay. You're gonna say something.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on it. This one was different. This wasn't the classic where I don't know.
It wasn't the flash paper. It's usually the flash paper. It wasn't that.
No, this was like a pen that, like, if you look at him, he had something like up his sleeve. It almost was looked like a firecracker, but it was something that shot lit gasoline onto his face. There was if you watch it a couple times, you see it stream like out of something from his sleeve off his hand, and you actually see the stream of it, and it hits his face and splatters all over his face.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Oh, it's crazy. So it's a fireball, but it's not the fireball like we saw last week, the typical fireball. This was different. This almost looked like lighter fluid that somehow I have no clue how. He's the devil. He can do what he wants. But but man, and the best part of this ending is after he did that, and Julio and Alexis Lurie run down, security, someone from management, they're throwing towels on Punk's face, and they start putting more attention on Punk on the inside of the ring. He's rolling around. His face is covered. You can audibly hear him screaming in pain because of the fire that engulfed his face and part of his shoulder or whatever. It was like, wow. It was intense. I really enjoyed this.
I believe, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, that same gimmick that he used was what blew off the Devil's fingers at one point, a couple years back. Like a few years prior to this, he had a similar accident where he blew his fingertips off or something.
He did have that, but I forget what obviously he's adjusting based on last week.
Yeah,
but he's obviously done a lot of fireballs in his life. I'm sure he's still doing them today in some format. But
I haven't seen he hasn't done an Impact yet. But But he definitely it was something different for sure. It was like a little like that shot out that Jay mentioned. We go to Don West and TNA. Now is it white on white or is it silver on silver? Or is it
I think silver on silver.
Is it silver on silver?
I'm going silver on silver.
I wrote white on white.
I wrote white on white or silver on silver. Or it looks like cream on cream. I don't know, beige on beige.
Sometimes as the show progresses, the lighting changes and you can tell the true color. It always looked kind of the same the whole show.
It was good.
It's so shiny.
It had a hint of gray to it, but it could have been an off.
So I thought it was a little eggshell almost, Jared comes out, immediately gets interrupted by Vince Russo, who posts up a lawn chair at the top of the ramp and pours himself a drink. He's wearing a great T-shirt here. You guys catch this, Bill? What T-shirt?
Very loud T-shirt.
Fuck Vince.
Fuck Vince. And a big middle finger said, fuck Vince on it. And he basically is saying there won't be a rematch with him and AJ. There's no rematch. Forget about it. You're not up to his caliber. And by the way, you suck, which I thought was funny. He's like, you're not up to JJ's caliber. And quite frankly, you suck. And he says, so that's that. Then Jarrett goes to attack Russo. And then we get a debut here from Joe Legend, who the fans had no idea who this was.
Now, this is very familiar to Bart Gunn, the former Bart Gunn.
Yes, the Bart Gunn debut, which was silence, man.
Crickets.
Now this one, Legend comes out and they brawl for a while. This is like nearly 10 minutes. And
it's Jared.
It's Jared. I get the 10-minute spot in, brother. And then 10 minutes, all of the arena, all around. They did the loop around the far side. Came back, massive beatdown. AJ comes out. They lock Jared to the ropes. They tie him to the ropes, and then Russo just baseball bats him to the stomach. Their internal bleeding. Jared's coughing up blood. Joe Legend, TNA does mention he had a stint in WWE. He mentions that part of it. The rest, I'm trying to remember. I know the name. I don't remember seeing anything with him. I remember him seeing in the magazines and stuff. But God, I couldn't tell you anything Joe Legend really did. I mean, what the hell? What he really was known for. If anybody knows, I'd love to chime in. I'm looking at his stuff here. He was there for he was Just Joe in WWE. That's who he was.
Just Joe?
Just Joe. That was him.
Or was he Just Joe? His name Just Joe?
The name was Just Joe. I remember Just Joe. It was a little comedic character. And it was only a year. Just a year. And that was it, man.
I was not watching
not even
WWF at that point.
Looks like, though, guys, I'm looking at some of his stuff. Looks like he was part of that crew, that BCW-ish crew with Edge and Christian and all those, Rhino and all those guys. So he was part of that crew. He's part of the I'm surprised D'Amore hasn't brought him in at this point.
Yeah, he could be part of us.
We got a Joe already in us. But looks like he was part of that kind of he ran in that circle, put it that way. At least with not necessarily in BCW, but I'm sure he did a little bit had a little something there. But he was basically in that Detroit and Brampton, Ontario area, it looks like. So and then overseas mainly. I'm looking at it. Looks like overseas.
They
stuff,
do put over as overseas.
Yeah, I'm looking at a lot of overseas.
New Japan. They mentioned New Japan.
Yeah, it looks like did a lot of Russia, a lot of indies. A lot of indies in the U.S. Yeah, Russia. I don't
hear much from Russia.
Yeah, you really don't actually. Not seeing a lot of New Japan. He's
CCP number one.
CCP number one. The commissioner Ivan Drago. No, he looks like he's still working last year. So no idea. But he's best friends with Rhino and Don Callis and Edge and Christian. Those are his best friends.
How has he not been here? What's going on here?
I'm actually shocked that he hasn't been given a shot in.
they need to work on that. Well, he's going to join the Bullet Club next week. Watch.
Listen, he might at this point. But he's going to be here for a little bit. We get to have him. We get to have him for a little bit here, so we'll see him around TNA for a little while. But yeah, Joe Legend.
I really enjoy it. This is the first time I ever seen him. I Wikipedia'd him, and you really don't find much. You find a little paragraph here and a little paragraph there. He did this, he did that, but no real elongated page history or nothing. So I was pleasantly surprised how I don't know. I enjoyed this. Felt like he knew what he was doing.
When I heard about him in the magazines in those days in the 90s, he used to go as Joe E. Legend. I remember that. I remember Joe E. Legend. That was like the
Joe E. Legend.
Yeah, Joe capital E period Legend. Somebody looks like Bravo took that gimmick from the guy.
Maybe he did.
He did. We got to.
That could be news. Breaking news.
We're gonna call that out on Bravo next time. I'm gonna let Kyle do it. Let Kyle get going. But we go from there. AMW taking on. Okay, I want to ask you guys. Jay, I want you to correct me if I'm wrong here. So AMW's got a title defense. Their first defense of their third reign, which gets pointed out.
Yes.
Okay. The team they're going up against is David Young and Sonny Siaki. Now, I do like that TNA mentions that, well, listen, they're trying to get Sports Entertainment Extreme back. Maybe if they can win, they can pitch it to Russo. They might have a case to come back or something. So they're trying.
Yeah.
Now, my question is here, I got two things. What did I miss here? Last time I looked at these two, they were feuding. Like they weren't on the same page. And now there's no Desire, and now there's no Trinity. And Trinity, who teamed up with Sonny Siaki last week to take out Goldilocks. So there's no what am I missing a gap in something here? Because nothing means nothing, as the man said.
Trinity shows up with Sabin to help them at the end of the show. So in theory, she should have been here, but I think it's just like, okay, so she's part of the Russo thing. She should have shown up here, but she didn't, but she showed up later, which tied it all together. There's no Goldilocks. They did mention that.
There's no Goldilocks. It's just like the last time we saw these two, they were feuding. Desire was in the mix, and then Trinity teamed up with Siaki last week. The logic of this is weird, but again, credit to TNA for trying to break it all down and make it make sense. So, nothing too crazy. I mean, it was just a standard pretty much match. AMW retains with a death sentence. Bill, I don't know if you caught this. Our boy Don West here hints at something during commentary. I don't know if you caught this or not. You catch this, Jay?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Go ahead. Call that out.
He talked about, boy, I really wish there was some kind of authority figure to really keep things under control around here. He says something about
a commissioner to keep the law or something in place here. So the first little hint of a commissioner is mentioned here now. So, like I said, I don't remember timelines. I don't know if I know Impact and TNA has had a lot of commissioners over the years, but who this one's going to be is going to be interesting because
doesn't Don always call for this like every 6 episodes when things run amok?
It almost feels like he did it more on purpose this time to be like, gosh, I really wish we had a commissioner. Hey, look at that, there's a commissioner. One of those things.
Yeah, Don doesn't just throw it out there.
Right. It's always with purpose, I think. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. We get a primetime Elix Skipper.
Maybe my favorite segment of the night.
Did you like this one?
It's so cheesy bad. It is fantastic.
Exactly.
This is up there with the Sting debut video. This is so 1994 video production.
Yeah.
10 years later, it was baby. This was bad.
The primetime Elix Skipper bumper.
What time is it? Prime time.
What bothered me about, and this is such a stupid detail, but he'd be like, "What time is it?" And you could clearly tell the crowd was about the crowd.
They just put the prime time. I
was like, "Wait a minute." You have a crowd there who's set up to do this, and they're the ones
that obviously said it, but they never showed it.
They never showed the.
I thought at the close, maybe they actually have the.
I thought too. I was like,
prime time.
I'm like, am I crazy? I thought they'd have the crowd do it, but they just put the graphic, the words "prime time." Like, what time is it? Prime. It's like, wait a minute. There's like 30 people behind him.
So obviously, this is the Elix singles push we're getting, and after that match last week, which I dare said was the best match in TNA up until this point, it's deserved.
Fantastic. The guy, I feel so bad that the run was cut short because of family stuff. He pulled out around. I mean, he made it to Orlando. I don't think he got the Spike though. I don't know if he was on the Spike era. I could be wrong. If Critical Sting's in here, he can
Might just be
that.
Fox, you're thinking?
I think after Fox, after the cage match, he started winding down, the infamous walk. He might have made it to Spike. He might have made it to Spike, but like not for a long time. But he was a great, talent-wise, he could talk too. He just needed to evolve. You needed some proper evolution of him, at some point. Looked like they were starting with this.
Yeah. I'll tell you, rewatching when they were showing the clips of last week's match and all those bumps of him falling out of the cage and climbing back up to it. Like it was just he was so skilled, the guy. He was just like an acrobat in there, the way he was falling in and out of that cage. Like it was nothing. It was like,
he was so good. And Jay, he had a bit of a run at the end of WCW and Team Canada and stuff. He was getting a push. Just didn't have enough time. He did not have enough time. But he was a hidden gem.
And that goes back quite a few years, but I feel like there was a lot of stuff that they kind of started and just couldn't continue because they ran out of time with the. They were trying to find stuff to pop and bring in fans and let's start pushing these guys. Oh, we're done. Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry.
Well, you can tell though, and Bill, you could probably attest to this. A lot of the guys that like Russo was trying to start things off with at the end of WCW. Were the guys who got into TNA are like, cool, we didn't get to do this back then. So Erik Skipper, you're gonna get a fucking push here, So like they got to do some stuff.
Yeah, like this was the Russo receipts
in a way,
in
like
TNA.
Remember,
I'm gonna push these guys. Yeah, Siaki.
Siaki was in that mix. AJ was there at the time. Like these guys were all young boys. James Storm was in that mix. Chris Harris was in that mix. They were rookies at WCW's power plant. They all got to do something here. So
now, Trent, I know you say it. You turned. You said early about Sonny Siaki. Yeah. Like that was the guy that should have been the star and all that. And then you kind of turned.
I'm
going to put this out right now.
Okay.
Erik Skipper starting today's wrestling. If he came out 15 to 20 years later, is he one of the biggest stars in the business?
Erik Skipper?
Of work rate? Because of, like down south, he'd be their champion. I would.
Think. He'd be a star. Absolutely today. Well, yeah, because he's got that real fluid kind of style and that crazy athletic bump taken hop around, but still it's kind of a taller guy.
It wasn't appreciated back then.
No. But today, absolutely. Jay watched a lot of the modern stuff. What do you think, Jay? I want to get your opinion on this.
Absolutely innovative for what was going on back then. I mean,
so today, like he'd be a star today, no question.
Oh yeah, he absolutely would be. But at the same time, there's so much more of that style. There's a good chance he could get lost in the mix. But I'm not saying he wouldn't get noticed.
Yeah, it was almost he was too early back then.
He was
for this style,
and I think he's one of those guys where a lot of these guys are directly influenced by him. But he's never mentioned at the top of the list because he left right when that stuff started really popping off, as when he left. And I think if these guys rewatch, like, oh shit, yeah, Erik Skipper kind of is, subtly in the back of my mind who really influenced this stuff. Because a lot of guys work like him, and he really was. Bill, you're 100% right. I think it was 15 years, maybe 10 to 15 years too early. Because the guy could have been. He has something that really looks like it's today's work in him, and with like that old school psychology too. Very, very innovative guy. Does not get enough credit. Really love Erik Skipper. Sad story with him. He left the business for some family stuff, and his son was murdered a couple years ago, and that was it. He just shut off. Like he was not around, and so I don't think he does anything publicly whatsoever because of that. So it's a very tough situation. I read about it. It's actually all online. It's very, very tough. But
it's sad. Like just wrestling in general. You hear a lot of stories, and obviously this era of Impact, but for obviously Sonny, like he gave, like he donated, what was it, a kidney?
His kidney to his brother.
That's why he had to leave the business.
That was it.
A lot of reasons why a lot of these people, and most of them have gone silent. Like they're not on the social media, so really you don't know much about these guys anymore.
Yeah, that's the one thing I wish. Like and this is just obviously personal preference. My own thing is like if you were a star on television at some point, I think it's almost like you'd be remiss not to just at least have a Twitter account or something online, whether you use it all the time or not, somewhere where people can say, oh, there he is. I can at least send him a fan message and say, hey, you were fucking great. like the stuff we do, I would love to tag Elik Scare. Like, dude, you were fucking awesome. Like, just so you know, we talk about you every week on the show because how good you are.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think I'd love for these people to be reminded of that. Like, they should know how much people love your work. And it's don't ever feel like you can overlook. You know, people do like what you do or what you did back then. So
that's why it was so great to have the Wildcat on the show previously.
Oh, so awesome. We got Mark's all over us about getting him back. Like, you gotta have him back. You know, Rex is saying he's too skinny to be world champion. Look at the guys they have world champion now.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. That obviously was a hindrance to him back then.
I'm sure
back in booking meetings, they said that to him. They're probably like, "Hey, no, you're too skinny." Something like that probably did come up over his career. But today, have you seen the world champions over the last couple of years?
Exactly. He's almost a big guy compared to those guys. You know,
how the hell is AJ Styles champ at this point? Then,
yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
Exact same body build.
That's very true. That's
same
very,
wrestling
very true.
style.
That's actually very true. But that video, that's
Jaybone's getting deep. It's getting deep.
Well, you're psychological. You're deep. You're a deep guy. You know, a lot going on in the old nog.
Deep bone tonight.
Deep bone.
Whoa.
Hey, whatever you do after the show,
after dark.
I don't care what you do after the show. Okay, as long as you're here, you're not deep boning anybody. All right, take it easy. Come on, man.
As soon as it left my mouth, I was like, "Oh no, no, it's gone." Sorry.
You know, this show compared to Tuesday is so tame. It really is. Like, I mean, that's probably the extent. We don't even play the sound out. We could have give him the old. We could have given him the old. But we didn't.
Yeah, we could have. We could have done that. Well, you never know. You have to start it, Trent. You have to start with a bite. Then we know it's a bite acceptable show. Then now you just asked for it.
It's open. I mean, look, the three of us have the bite control. You know,
Okay.
Bill, you were granted bite control after about 10 episodes. We gave Bill bite control, so he's got it now. If it ever comes up, it's not always me pushing the buttons, guys.
We need a handful of classic bites for people that are prominent at this time, especially with what's coming up soon in the episode with BG and those guys. Because my
god, we do need to go through and get some classic bites at some point for sure. But we go to Kid Kash, who goes to the fence, and he's like looking for the big scary dude. Hey, big scary dude. Hey, did you get the package I sent you with the milk and cookies, man? Snickers. I love Snickers. The Oreos and the Snickers. But he's like, hey man, I was just thinking since you like to hang out here, you know, I was thinking about, I don't know what your name is, but I figured I'll just call you the Abyss. You know, you like hanging out in the Abyss. So Kid Kash named Abyss. Kid Kash.
I had no clue how he got that. I'm like, Kash did that. Interesting.
And he was the Abyss. Again, Kash is another one who was such a big part of TNA. Like, people don't realize this guy in year one is in like major storylines in year one.
Yeah. And just as a full circle, he technically was at the last shows they did in front of a live audience.
He was. You saw him. Did you get to meet him at all, Bill?
ATL. Not that go around. Not that go around. Trying to think.
I've never met him.
Past, like maybe way back.
I've never met Kash. I don't think I've ever met Kid Kash. Maybe I can't remember. He's a tough guy.
Some strings. Get that Kid Kash.
I would like that. I'd like to meet Kid Kash. He's on Twitter sometimes. I tag him in these throwbacks. He's not on too much.
Yeah, he's not very active. He's like
a chiropractor now is what he does for a living or something. That's what he does. He's like a sports medicine therapist, something like that. So he's got the career going. But he's the one who named Abyss. And out of nowhere though, Erik Watts comes, attacks Kid Kash, beats him down, handcuffs him to the fence. Starts brawling. The Abyss comes out at that point. They start brawling. They brawl all the way to the front of the ring, and then the match starts. And this, I think, is what Watts needed. He needed a guy his size who can match up with him, right? But Jay, like you finally got a guy who Watts looks good, really brawling with. I thought this was fun.
This was the most impressed I'd ever been with Watts, and seeing as this is Abyss's debut, I was very impressed. I mean, they're supposed to, they're supposed to be, against him on commentary, and they were putting him over. They're like, wow, it looks like he's doing pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a great job. I mean, he looked great. And the Black Hole Slam made its debut here. That was it.
Man, just devastating. It was awesome. As soon as he hit it, and he hit the what was the one where he's got the guy on his back and he drops down?
I was about to ask, what's the name of that one? I don't remember the name of that where he has him in a torture rack and he just drops.
Yeah, that is just devastatingly awesome, man.
It's kind of like a sit out torture rack. Did he have a name? I'm trying to remember if he had a name for it though. Where the hell is Critical Sting when we need him? Where the hell are you guys? I throw like 4 things of trivia at him. He's not here. I need him. Critical Sting, where are you? Where are you? But
we're gonna Wikipedia that shit right now.
Check that out. Abyss's debut match technically, and that was it. So it was cool, man. Bill, and knowing what he became in the company, like that's kind of cool to see this again. Like cool to watch it. You know, like
that is. So now our buddy Garrett from the Impact social media, had they ever really put this out, like Abyss debut? Did they promote this on like the YouTube?
I don't remember him ever calling attention to this. They always refer to him being show 1 guy as Prince Justice. And he was here from day 1. Technically, he was. Oh, here we go. Here's the move right here. Thank you guys, Rex and Jim West.
Shock treatment.
Yes. Thank you, boy.
There you go.
I totally forgot. He's absolutely right. Shock treatment. Thank you guys both so much.
Yep.
Rings a bell. But they always refer to show 1 because they always used to sell like he's a day 1 guy, day 1. But it's like technically he's a day 1 and gone. And then and Jay, what was it? He showed up at episode number 6, like once, and then he was like it was show 1, episode 6, and then he was like gone. It was something so weird like that. Like they just needed somebody to fill in or something.
Well, it was that big first
the Battle Royal in the first show.
Battle Royal, and that was it. As far as I remember.
Yeah. I thought he showed up one more time on something like show 6 or something, and that was it. So technically
could be. There was a few one-offs that like came in and out real quick. Like that dude from Australia was like a one and done.
Yeah. Oh my God, that guy. Oh shit, what was his name? I forgot the Australian dude's name.
They were trying to find tag team guys for Siaki or one of those guys, or Estrada, or one of them.
For Estrada, it was the Estrada thing. Man, the Jorge Estrada angle. Whew.
Gave him the push there, Forbidden.
A little bit.
Estrada, we hardly knew you. Where'd you
go? Where he is. See, again, have a Twitter account. We can tag you in something. But no, Abyss technically, he's a year in until Abyss, the character, comes out. But then he's there. Now this Abyss you see that's the Abyss you get until he left in 2019, right? He left in 19.
That's a long time.
God, it almost feels like it's longer, but he left right after because he did Homecoming against Eli Drake. And I think he did a Homecoming. And he did the Hall of Fame in 18, Homecoming. Pretty much after Homecoming, he was gone.
Yeah.
That was the end of it. That was
whenever him and Borash, but we'll talk about later when they left together.
Yes. Yeah.
Like thieves in the night.
They really did. So we got that. So yeah, that was the first win for Abyss. We go to Kash didn't interfere in that a little bit. I'm not gonna say it was clean.
Yes. Little shenanigans.
Little shenanigans.
Yeah, it was mild compared to what he's done before, but yeah.
We get now we go to Behind the Paint with Sting and Mike today. Little sit down, Sting with no paint on. Talking, Sting looking cool. Like one thing on Sting, he always looks cool. He's a cool guy. But there's some interesting points here. But again, I want to say, I feel like it's not treated as big of a deal as it should have been. Even from the graphic to the match to this, it's like this is not being given the rub that this is fucking Sting coming back to a platform, and it's like, there's Sting. It just didn't have that power to it. But he talks about his early days. Interesting thing to note, he talks about getting a start with the Warrior. He was, they start off as that power team, whatever it was, in California, bodybuilder guys, sent a bunch of press kits out. The only guy who answered them back was Jerry Jarrett, father of Jeff Jarrett, and said, I just want those two guys, him and Warrior. And gave him a shot. He made his debut at the Nashville Fairgrounds in the 80s, which is now TNA Asylum at this point. And he said, it's kind of full circle that I made my debut for Jerry Jeff called, and I'm doing it again in the same building. I thought that was kind of a cool little factoid, Bill.
That was. And I didn't remember the behind the paint this interview, so it was kind of interesting seeing it again. But obviously, as a big fan, I can't say I'm. I was a little stinger, just like Trent. I know Trent was a little stinger. I think we were all little stingers back then. If you were a WCW fan in our age range, you were a little stinger.
But you didn't tell him that at 28 years old, right?
No. When I met him, I just said, and he didn't have the paint on. When he does like those appearances, he doesn't have paint on.
That's true. Sometimes when they do the $100 appearances, there better be paint on.
But this one was included as part of the Bound for Glory 2011 package.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But no, it was because I had known like what was it, the Blade Runners when they did that gimmick together, him and Hellwig.
Yeah.
But no, it was interesting, and we know it's a multi-part interview. It's at least next week. I don't know if it goes beyond next week. But it was say Surfer Sting forever, Mark. Look, that will always be my Sting, Surfer Sting. Appreciate the Crow. Last night, obviously, I was with Jaybone talking about Sting. I don't know how I feel right now about the return of Sting.
A lot of emotions here.
I got a lot of Sting emotions. I'm really not happy with how he's being used right now. I don't like it. It feels like snowy Sting. I don't get the snow Sting. Did I miss this whole thing that he likes winter? He's always a beach blonde surfer to me.
But are they doing like a winter gimmick with Sting right now?
Somehow he's associated with the winter. I have no idea why.
It's all of a sudden very cold when he shows up, and the snow starts blowing throughout the arena, throughout Daly's place, and he comes out, and you hear the infamous "It's Sting!" In fact, he did it twice last night, freaking Tony. The second time he did it was even more
Tony
obnoxious.
the Tool Schiavone.
Oh, totally Tool. No, it's it's weird. Yeah, that's weird. The fact that we're still talking about Sting is crazy. But
I'm glad because Sting deserves it. Sting's
I love Sting.
Legend. Sting's the man. Love Sting.
Good old Steve.
I think somebody's a real big Game of Thrones mark, and Crows were big on Game of Thrones, and they're doing Winter's Coming, which was the Game of Thrones moniker. Gotcha. So I think they put Crow and Winter together because Crows are big on Game of Thrones. For anybody who's a Game of Thrones guy, I think a little wonder kid with frizzy hair down in Jacksonville might be a big.
Well, I gotta see that? What Russo calls him? He calls him Little Big League. That's what he's calling him lately. He's like Little Big League is what he is. He's like the movie Little Big League. That's what he's doing. I said, holy.
I do appreciate that the Jacksonville Dixie, but that feels like an insult to my favorite owner of all time, Dixie Carter. So.
Dixie Carter. But I don't get the call. But the debut here, the whole thing with in this, see, because there's another thing they do. They treat the 06 debut or the 05 debut, 05 debut more as the original. No, sorry, Final Resolution 06. They treat that more so.
Yeah, they did it in the last week. They did it this past episode.
Yeah, and it's like they treat that like that's the big one, and that's considered the actual debut. But it's like, no, he came back in the Asylum.
Honestly, we've gone over this Trent a lot.
Yeah,
and this is on Impact. We'll call it out. They kind of ignore the Asylum era a lot. I don't know if it's because they don't like the production. And when they went to Orlando, the game went up.
Sure.
Here, the game even went up a level. Like right now, the game's gone up.
Year
but it
2 went up.
Yeah. And it's almost like they want to kind of put a lot of this under the carpet these first couple of years.
Yeah. Vince does that too up north. He doesn't really talk about those. They really don't put over a lot of the studio stuff that they did. The classic, like, the Piper's Pits were in front of those.
Oh, yeah.
But the NWA, though, the Crockett stuff, they always would shine a light on the studio, the small arena stuff, because that was like where the stars were made. This was not a small arena. This was 1,000+ seater. I don't know. I just don't know why they almost treat it like it's an alternate timeline, and they only use it to their advantage. But it's like, hey, by the way, AJ Styles was here way long ago. Just so you know, we had him way long ago in the Asylum, but they'll never talk about some of this other stuff, man. It's like you guys really leave out a lot of big. Again, the Sting one's a big one. You had him. to me, it's a bigger bragging point to say he came to TNA in 03 early. You know, he came right away to TNA. But no, they stretched it out another 2 years to say, no, it wasn't no fun. Like, no, fuck that. You had him 17 years ago. I don't know, man. I think you're right, though. It's a production. It's how the visual looks, and it's like, oh, that looks small time. We'll show the big one with the lights and the camera and the action. But yeah, this is kind of, it's some good information. And I guess, you know, it's just what it is. It's one of those, and TNA is great. TNA is phenomenal at what he does. He's credible when he talks. I love listening to TNA talk. I wish he'd come back or do a show, something. But TNA is awesome. We got a little feud of the Jerry and Justin recap feud, a little recap video of that. And then Jaybone, Russian chain match. Jerry, Lynn, and Justin Credible. Something I plan on challenging you to next summer at some point. July 2nd, 2021, me and Jaybone in a Russian chain match on the border of Illinois and Wisconsin. And the winner has to buy the loser Cracker Barrel. That's what we're going for.
I'll tell you what, we're going to do it out in front of Cracker Barrel. I'm going to take those chains off the damn rocking chairs, and I'll get you. I'll get you, Trent.
He's going to rock you to sleep, brother.
You know, yeah, that'd be hilarious. RK Shuttlesworth brings out a really good point. The Ron Killings NWA title win. That's not nearly talked about enough, especially in an era where we are putting so much more shine on different cultures and ethnicities and accomplishments and other entertainment venues. Like, I mean, music and movies are all about, like, you know, shining a light on different ethnicities and ethnic groups and them being first of this and accomplishment of that. I feel like wrestling that completely ignored all the movements going on this year. Like, if I'm Impact, I'm putting Ron Killings front and center. Like, by the way, you know, hey, we always celebrated this, you know? And I know you kind of want to play the middle a little bit on those things. Like, you don't want to be too one-sided when it comes to race and religion and gender and all that stuff. But it's like never talked about. It's never, and I think it's a great talking point. Ron Killings being the first African-American world champion ever is never nearly talked about at all.
Now, Trent, you know? I know you can probably vouch for this because we were watching, I believe at the same time, WCW, but they would always acknowledge Ron Simmons like that.
Always. Yeah. I'm sorry, Ron Simmons the first world, but Killings being the first.
But they would acknowledge it in WCW. But then really, like, The Rock, Booker T, but really still not a lot up north.
No, not really.
So that's Ron Killings is still a huge accomplishment in 2003. I
think so. 2002 he had it.
2002, yeah.
And that's NWA big. Champion. Oh, it's huge. It's absolutely huge, and it's never mentioned. And I think, like, man, I think I should put that out. Like, you can do things, you know, during February, during History Month. You know, put that out. Put those things out.
Honestly,
there more.
Put it out there now when you just had Chris Bay versus Rich Swann on one of your pay-per-views.
Oh, I think it's awesome.
Come on, Garrett.
Come on, Garrett.
We're helping Garrett do his job tonight.
Oh, don't say that. He's going to hate us even more.
Come on, man.
No, I think it's one of those things where, like, you have the history. You should put it out. The thing that got put, I know Impact, as a company, you can't put this out, but, like, the fact that it was Moose, Willie, Bay, and Swan, the main event, the first time, that four African-American guys main evented, or just in general, main evented a pay-per-view in 18 years, or a TV show in 18 years, a wrestling show in 18 fucking years. That's crazy. And the last one was what, Rock and Booker T, I think they said. That's insanity to me. And I think it should have been put out there. Bay was like, holy fuck, that's awesome. You know, like, he's like, I didn't know that. Yeah. I think that's cool as shit. The Ron Killings. So what we're tying this whole thing up in is, like, they have all this stuff. They need to celebrate it a lot more. I think they really should be proud of that. They took chances when nobody else, with women. You know, that's the things that go down in history at some point. It's a little sour right now. It's going to go down in history at some point. But the things they did with Trinity and Tracy Brooks and Desire, even back in the early Goldilocks, Desire in the early days is different kind of shit. I mean, you know, ECW took a lot of chances with women, but these guys did way more stuff. You know, first women to main event a TV show, a wrestling TV show was Impact with the cage match they did with Mickey and Tara, wasn't it? The first main event of a women main eventing a wrestling television show was done in Impact. Like that's not happened. You know, like they've done a lot more than a lot of people have. Yeah. So celebrate your accomplishments is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and I think you're getting to that spot. Obviously, Scott has been a big proponent of bringing back the history. Yeah, and
he was there
because remember there was a pretty much get rid of the history movement for a couple of years. So they're backtracking on bringing it back now. So it's good, but it's going to take a while.
It is, and you're absolutely right. They're doing it more with the Scott touch because he was there. You know, he was there during a lot of this. Like he's seeing that, and he's proud of that stuff. But anyway, this match right here, this Russian chain match, Jerry Lynn and Justin Incredible was fucking awesome. This was brutal, Jaybone. I'm gonna slice your fucking head open one of these days. But it was so harsh. But anyway, no, Jay, it was great though. I love this one.
This was a lot better than what they showed last week.
Yeah,
I enjoyed this a lot. This was a lot more violent, a lot better back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
They did stuff with the chain that you didn't see coming. Like all of a sudden, Credible's trying to just get across the ring. He's recovering from the last move, and all of a sudden, I almost said Kash. Lynn grabs the chain and just yanks it, and it just whips him back into the center of the ring, like it wasn't. Like he took the bump like he legit was not ready for it. I mean, they looked like this was stiff as hell.
They're trying to kill each other.
Yeah. I mean, it was. Oh, he's hitting him so many times, but he's not even bleeding. No, they whipped the shit out of each other. It was great. It was
brutal a match. It was. I love the pin. Now Jerry, the pin was awesome. Right?
He hog-tied him.
He hog-tied him. Which is brilliant for a chain match. I never saw that happen. The guy, he hog-tied him and then just collapsed on him. He's going to get out of that. That's it. Jerry got the win.
Yeah.
Little post-match beatdown by Justin, but man, that was a cool little end to the whole thing, huh, Bill?
Yeah, it was great psychology.
I love
that match. And honestly, I know we've all been. I know, and you've come to me because I saw him in his ECW days, but pretty hard on Justin.
I have
in this run, and I agreed. Like this, he didn't fit, even though he was ECW. He came in late in his style. He wasn't really fitting like his style. He wasn't wrestling matches like he did in ECW.
Yeah,
just a different vibe to it. This match brought it out.
It did. This is more
like when they was the way he used that chain early when he went up and he yanked them down, and they had to get Keith Mitchell, get that replay up there. Like it was a lot of great use of the gimmick. Like sometimes dog collar type matches, you don't get a lot of use. It's just like there. They used it. Like right now, like Piper is smiling down on this. That was great. Like that was great use of the chain on that one.
When I met Piper, I had just watched the him and Valentine match, and I go, man, that match I just saw for the first time was brutal. He goes, brother, look at this right here. You see this? He's like, you see this right here? Yeah, that's all I got left of me here. I can't hear a goddamn thing out of this there. That's all I got left of it. He hit me so hard with the chain in this here, brother. That was it. I was like, holy shit. And you see it because you see on that tape, he punches him and he's fucking bleeding out of here. Brutal.
Oh my god,
brutal shit. Starrcade '83, which I think stole the show at Starrcade '83. Not the main event. I think that was stole the show. It's still classic. Yeah, you definitely, Jay, watch that Starrcade '83.
Oh, Jay, brutal. Yeah. If you have not seen that match, Jay, that's
brutal.
That's a must.
It's kind of the bar of the chain matches. That's the one that everybody has to beat. You know.
I think I started watching wrestling a year later, and that's when like the whole Hulkamania thing started.
Rock and wrestling.
Yeah, Rock and Wrestling, the cartoon, Albano, all those guys. You know, back when Andre was a baby face, and but back when when Vince really boomed it onto cable television is when I started watching. I was about 10 years old.
I like just thinking back to how Andre would talk like, "Hello, tell me, I'll go in." Just
I'll go in. I get you.
Hard rolling.
Best sidebar. Best Andre moment for me as a kid, and I popped for this because Euchre was a local baseball hero because he was the Wisconsin, and a brewer, and he was the backstage color guy with the microphone, and he's sitting there interviewing Andre, and Andre's up here off the camera practically, and hey Andre, get your foot off my shoulder, and
that was classic. They would replay that for years.
Oh, for years. That's always in the highlights. Yeah,
I love that one. I love that. I believe that's oh crap. Is that 3? I believe it's 3.
It was 3. Yeah. We go to Frankie Kazarian talking to Bill Behrens, kind of petitioning for an X Division title match. AJ interrupts him, kind of mocking Frankie, slapping him around, playfully. I'm going to shine a little Styles star on you tonight, kid. I'm going to give you a shot at this belt. I was supposed to have Ray or JJ, but I'm going to give you a shot at this belt today. How about me? He's like, wait, what? Yeah, sure, I'll take it. And he's like, yeah, come on. He's like, don't worry, kid. Slapping him around mockingly. The first thought I had here was, that's a quick little push. And today even points us out, that's a hell of a push right away for Frankie, because they must have really had some faith in this kid, huh, Bill?
Oh yeah, he's the future, man. They gave him the nickname the Future, and they were going with it. Like you look at it, and today, even like in the announcing of the matches, like, whoa, he won this. Like, look what he's doing. He's defeating champions. He's getting world title shots. They talk about, and this isn't a guy that came from. This wasn't D'Lo Brown coming from up north. This was a relatively unknown guy, and they're shooting him to the stars right
to the moon at this point. Like, he was ready made. Like, he had an X Division title shot. I mean, today mentioned this later, but like, really, this kid really must be taking good opportunities. Like, he's in there, and as we see, he stays there for a while. He does leave for like 8 months or a year, maybe, to go up north. I remember that he left in the middle of it to go up north and he cut his hair and all that shit. But he pretty much was a TNA guy till he left to go to Ring of Honor. And then
it was like mid 2000s he did that. Yeah. And they just didn't do anything with him up north. They gave him the world's worst mullet.
Yeah. I think I heard they purposely did it to fuck with him is what it was.
Yeah, and that's what they did with guys from TNA back then. They're like, yeah, we'll bring you in. You're a hell of a hand, but
you're a hell of a hand, kid. No, they definitely, he was pretty much a TNA guy, but they had some faith in the kid here. I gotta say, it was crazy. But yeah, Bill Behrens like sporadically shows up at this point. Like, he's there sometimes, he's not there, but there's Bill Behrens with Frankie Kazarian. We go to the next match here is Mike Sanders and Shark Boy. Real kind of just like tie this one up. It's just Sanders trying to go for the mask the whole time. Pretty quick. Nothing happens. Sharky does win. Harris Boys come. Huh?
He's got to win.
I can turn it on anytime, Pat. Come on, no problem.
Sharky wins. The Harris Boys come and try to attack Sharky. He slithers away. Or what did Tanay say? He swims away or something.
Fishtails.
Yeah, fishtails. Woo! It's pretty slick.
He fishtails away. So then they start beating up Mike Sanders. It's like, oh shit, sex is definitely done at this point.
Yeah, poor Mike. He's. Jeez.
I like they decide to beat him up after. They're like, no, he got away. Let's kick your ass now. So,
but the funniest part of that is Don West at the end of that, sarcastically going, "Oh no, we hate to see that."
West is on this one. We get next now. I'll let you take this one. We got a Mystery Science Theater 3000. Actually, I'm gonna let Jay take this because his tagline was used several times in this little Mystery Science Theater thing here. It's the 3 Live Crew, which is not named at this point yet, doing the House of Style, like Joan and Melissa Rivers, basically, and they're just doing it about the TNA roster at this point.
Jiminy Christmas
was all over this segment. Jiminy Christmas.
3 times, I think. I think there was 3
at least.
I popped for this. This was so.
Great.
So.
We might need that as a throwback bite.
That's a Jiminy good Christmas. One. That's a good. Yeah, we need his Jiminy Christmas and Jaybone's Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah, like the Kalon, my buddy Kyle.
We do.
That's the funniest thing is this isn't the first time we've heard him say this. It was like a couple months ago, all of a sudden out of the blue, BG James was on commentary and he said it a couple times. And I'm like, oh, God,
it's for me.
They knew, didn't they?
Jim and Chris. This was funny as fuck. And they're just being themselves, which is great. Kind of doing the fashion files thing, or where they go, House
Asylum with style.
Asylum style. It was funny. They're going through pictures of the entire roster. I didn't write down any specifics. You guys write down any specific insults that they threw out?
This was the best one right here. He goes, Jiminy Christmas, and they're looking at Russo, and because he's got the perm I've been talking about the last few weeks, that infamous perm when he came back. Looks like he's the love child of Kevin Bacon and Sergeant Slaughter.
What the hell?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I was like, oh, hell no.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
Christmas.
And Bill, was this the JB moment?
Yeah, this was JB. And like they go, like they're looking at those frosted tips and they go, first they do there's something about Mary, very topical at the time. I guess he's using the same hair gel from There's Something About Mary. Yeah. And then it goes, then they go with the line, oh, that must be Boy Batter by Revlon.
Oh my God. It was just so ridiculous.
The boy butter? Yeah.
So ridiculous. My God. These guys are just shooting, man. Straight shooting. But this was fun. This was a real fun little. I think this segment, if you guys didn't watch the show, go back and watch this little segment. It's worth a viewing.
So funny. Then they catch BG. It's like Truth and Conan all of a sudden randomly turn around and they go, oh wow, look at that ass, like they're looking at some chick behind them walking through randomly.
Yeah.
BG is still looking up at the screen and there's a picture of Chris Harris getting into the steel cage, and it's his ass right before he gets in. He goes, wow, yeah, he's got a great ass. And they turn around, they look at BG, and they look at the screen, and they're like, what the hell?
Pop.
And we weren't looking at his ass, we're looking at her ass.
Pop.
Talking about her. Oh, yeah, her too.
And a very topical when they throw Disco up there, Glenn. They make a Richard Gere gerbil reference. And if you're not from that era, you probably don't know that story, but that was like one of the biggest urban legend myths of that time period.
Yeah.
About Richard Gere, the actor.
You know, Bill, let's get a little crazy on Throwback. Why don't you tell, just to summarize, what the Richard Gere gerbil story is? For those who don't, it's like young people listening to us here today.
Well, you guys would, this generation might know it more because they kind of riffed on it on South Park.
Yeah.
With what, Lemmy Winks?
Lemmy Winks.
It was so the whole thing is the story I believe goes is Richard Gere put a gerbil. Wait. I think our buddy Moose can say this best. He took a gerbil and
in my ass.
Oh God. Oh my God. Yeah.
For the kink of the time.
Yeah, apparently it was a pleasure of his that he, the urban legends that he had to be taken to the emergency room because of it, because the gerbil was.
It sounds like a American Pie storyline, but it didn't happen in that movie.
Oh God, it is pretty wacky. If you guys didn't hear that, this was a true urban legend at the time. This was around the same time the Marilyn Manson rib removal one was coming.
Oh yeah, so you know why I did that?
There's a lot of there was a lot of things going around. I mean, Marilyn Manson rib removal for that, but
I have seen that penis.
Pretty much, guys. There's some weird shit going around in the early 2000s and late 90s. I'm serious, but yeah, if you haven't, go read about it. But that's what the reference was. We go to the ring, and it's my favorite knockout, Miss Tracy Brooks and Nurse Veronica, saying that they cannot wrestle men anymore. There's a lack of testosterone in this place, setting up an open challenge. And then tonight's like, well, they just said you can't wrestle men. Challenging. And then Lollipop and April, the two dancers, accept the challenge, and they go to brawl with the girls. And then security stops them, and the crowd boos.
Black shirt security. I'll tell you what. We got to be fair. We're on the throwback here. There's a security guard here. I'm calling him the hugger of security because he's as bad as the guy quaffing his hair, thinking he's Shane Douglas on Impact a couple weeks ago. There was a guy here that just goes like this, about a foot apart from the ladies. I guess he couldn't technically touch them, so he's just like holding them back, and he just keeps like he was horrible. If that guy was an indie worker, I'm sure he amounted to nothing because he was horrible.
That guy grew up to be Chris Hero. Now, wouldn't it be funny if that like it turned out that was like, that was Chris Hero? Like, whoa, way! Like, who was that guy?
The guy right in front of the camera that's holding back the blondes.
No.
Ponytail guy.
Yeah, this guy.
That guy.
Like, I'm sure Don, he didn't say it, but he should have said it.
This is a bunch of crap. This just sucks.
Pretty much. It's awesome. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't let him drop but even Don West is like, no, let him go. Boo! Boo! Don West is booing on commentary, which is my favorite part of it. All right, Bill, this is it. Now, guys, we're coming up to the finals of the tournament that would never end. We get a little tape segment with New Jack and Sandman just talking about hardcore wrestling, why they're the most hardcore, what makes them better than anybody else. And then the Hard 10 Finals finale. This is it. Gentlemen, we waited a long time for this, and this is it. This is the end.
Well, Sandman said it could be a hard 10, it could be a hard 20.
Yikes. I don't care. But that was it. So we went to the match, and I mean, it's intense. I won't say it's not. They definitely beat the shit out of each other here. I mean, this was pretty intense. They really went at it on this one.
They took their time with it.
Mm-hmm. They did.
With as many as we've seen, these guys going back and forth, and it's like, and they even said this on commentary, like, oh, why don't you just quick hit him a bunch of times and then be over with it?
Yeah.
And he answered it. It's like, well, because that's not fun.
Yes.
You know,
they just acknowledged the whole negatives of this whole tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
They realized was a failure.
That's true.
Well, and they still want to tell a story, you know, point A, point B, point C.
That's pretty much what it was. And it was no, Rex is pointing out something. Dave, you can put that comment up that Rex pointing out. Important information. Today announced in the semi-final that the Hard 10 tournament was for a hardcore championship. I didn't catch that. And I didn't hear that at all.
Oh, I'd have to go back and listen to that.
Wow, thanks, Rex. I did not catch that. If they mentioned there was going to be a hardcore championship, I don't know. They never did a hardcore championship though. Never did anything like that. Because it's like a one and done. This Hard 10 is like, that's it. It never happens again. So,
well, they at least saw this to a finish. Remember they started 2 tournaments on the same show.
Yes, Asylum Alliance and the Hard 10.
Did Asylum Alliance even ever end? What happened?
Did. It ended with it basically ended up with Triple X.
Oh yeah, the one team.
AMW.
Yeah, the actual teams won.
The actual teams.
Shocker.
In the final. Yeah. Like the whole point was like it was like random teams, and then the actual teams won. But the way they played that off is that AMW was having problems. Remember, they weren't like sure of each other, so it ended up with the actual teams, and AMW won the title. I mean, it was like,
well, that book in there, Trent. What's better than one tournament?
2 tournaments. Shit, you might as well throw another one in there. But the finish was interesting. You get backdrop off the perch through 2 tables. One of the tables, New Jack broke with his hand. It looked like the body went through one, but his hand is what broke the other one. That looked like a brutal fall. Wasn't that smooth, but he took it. He's gone off quite a bit of. I've never seen a New Jack balcony dive live. Have you, Bill? Any of the shows you've been to? Old days.
Yeah, I've seen him go off the nest in the ECW arena.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, during like the Gangsters versus like the Eliminators type era.
Yeah.
Public Enemy.
No, I did like that finish. I mean, Rex saying in the chat that he liked it a lot. I liked the finish. This match was good. This was fun, Jay. I liked it. I thought it was a good win.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it was because it was 2 ECW legends just having a match and ignoring Jeremy Borash saying point.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't concerned with that. They're just like,
okay,
whatever.
Frosty Tips, settle down.
Revlon. What was it? Revlon man what was it called? What did they call it?
Boy butter.
Man butter. But it was brutal. It was a flat fall, and he definitely, it was a brutal fall.
Yeah, and he wasn't. By the time they went to check on him at the very last seconds of that segment, he wasn't moving. So it was like, ooh, because he face planted and went through the table. That it was a really bad, because he like spun off the railing and then fell flat. It was like, ooh.
Yeah, it was wicked.
I don't think that's how he was supposed to land, but I don't think we've ever thought of New Jack as being graceful, but nonetheless, it was a tremendous spot. It was a fun hardcore match. It was 5 minutes or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably the best way that you're gonna be able to end this tournament, because it was really, the whole thing was really wonky, but the fact that you had two ECW hardcore guys at the end was appropriate. So.
Yeah. After this, we get a announcement of Shocker and Negro Casas coming in for a #1 contendership match at the for the X Division title. Two Mexican legends at the time, so they were definitely going to. It's gonna be fun to see that.
I love Shocker.
Shocker's cool.
When I started watching it in 2005 on the Fox
channel, he was a regular then.
Yeah, he was
too. He was one of the guys I put in my game.
Now I'm
all the
shocked.
TNA guys.
Like what they throw around, that he's the biggest gate in Mexico at the time.
You know what? It sounds crazy, but there was a documentary on Netflix.
I know that he did have it, so I have not seen that. But maybe that go over that, because I felt like I still was in tune enough with wrestling that I find that hard to believe in Mexico. But I guess a lot of the big names had left then in Mexico.
True.
So like he kind of ascended, I guess, to that spot. But it almost seemed unbelievable to me that he'd be the top guy in Mexico.
I thought the same thing. I was like, I heard about him, but not like to the point where I heard about him. You know, it wasn't like, oh man, Shocker. But that documentary that was on Netflix about him, I forgot what it's called. I think it's just called Shocker. Is great. I was like, man, he really was a big fucking star. I really didn't realize how big of a star he was. But yeah, he definitely had a following. No doubt about that. But you're right, Jay. He becomes more prominent when they get to Florida.
Yeah.
So, all right, main event, guys. This is it. Kazarian and Styles, and this is a impromptu title shot, basically for Frankie. Tonight, I noticed this though. Kaz comes out to Kid Cash's old music. And they just cut out the Kid Cash like verbal part at the beginning. So that comes out. So the reusing of music is still going on, still happening.
That's TNA, man.
TNA, man. You gotta use that. You gotta use the public domain music. Real good match. This was a. I mean, this is what Frankie Kazarian hired. Like, this is it. Like, this is what they're like. Get a contract. They killed it, man. I don't know. I mean, we saw these two grow to this day. Our two main stars today. But seeing them in their early year like this, like if I'm new to Frankie Kazarian, which I was at the time, I'm like, this guy's awesome. So I was hooked. I thought this was a great match. They killed it. Until some interference we'll talk about in a second. But any thoughts on this one, guys? Like, this one really, really got me. Jay?
Yeah, this was my first thought when I was watching this match. The show is just a year old now at this point, give or take a little bit. And it's evolved to the point where your main event in the beginning was Jarrett, bigger names, Scott Hall, that. Now you've established your mid card, making it your mainstay. Like, this is what we really want people to come for. Yep. Even though you've got the Shane Douglases now, we want people to see the CM Punks, the AJ Styles, the Frankie Kazarians, and now it's the main event. And man, yeah, this was a lot of fun, and it was that just hit me when I was watching, and I was like, wow, it was amazing to see like a lot of the same people were still there, like Sonny Siaki and guys like that, but how the show looked and how it was booked was really changing.
It really was, man, and You're seeing that change right in front of you as we're watching, which is cool. I mean, Bill, any thoughts on this? I really like the match.
No, it was a great match. Obviously, we know we've gotten an AJ so far, and we wanted him to win the title even before he won the title. Mm-hmm. But this is where you're getting why they were so high on Kaz right here.
Oh yeah,
and obviously that ending's crazy. It's good that he can still tell his tale after that Styles Clash, because I have the T-shirt, cashing checks and breaking necks, and we look like it started on this episode.
This goddamn. So
if this was in Japan, broken neck.
Oh, no doubt. So
it's like how Meltzer, it's 8 stars, was in Japan.
Jeez.
If this move was in Japan, that neck is broke.
Oh my god. So we had a little interference. I mean, Saban interferes to fuck with Kaz. Hail Saban. He fucks with Kaz because they're fighting next week. They got the Saban hoodies on Bill. Trinity interferes. I couldn't figure this one out. Where does she come into all this now? All of a sudden, she's here.
Remember, I told you the tie-in earlier.
What was the? I'm sorry.
Because she's with Russo now,
right?
So she didn't show up with Sonny Siaki.
Yeah,
but she's still with Russo. So she shows up at the end with Saban and that whole thing at the end there to help AJ. So,
but that whole thing, it's like they also said Sports Entertainment Extreme's dead. So it's like, well, which is it though? Are they dead? Are they?
It's still. They still have the affiliation with Russo. The name, I think, is what they're trying to get away from. They're still trying to keep the group alive. Yeah. It's the SEX that they're trying to get away from, which at that time it was still all pretty edgy. I don't know why. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is when they had Tracy Brooks and Nurse Veronica out there. Mm-hmm. And Nurse is checking Tracy with her What did BG James say that to her?
What?
I'm trying to think of what the term they used when Goldie was on the screen and they were talking about her bosoms.
Yes,
what did they call it?
They did have a name.
Did they give it a name?
But anyways, Nurse is checking Tracy's breasts. And I forget, it was either.
Oh, before you go on, it's funny because we refer to my girlfriend as a nurse, and his wife's name is Tracy. It just sounds really funny.
Oh, yeah.
Nurse is checking Tracy's breast. It just sounds like.
Oh, that's a weekend we got. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Holy crap! That's okay. Crack her barrel, I guess. Go ahead. Anyway. Holy crap! I think that's the one, Zach. It was called Lucha Mexico by the Shocker movie. I think that's the one. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm in so much trouble.
We're word.
Well, maybe not, but no, she puts the stethoscope up to Tracy's one of her breasts, and I forget it's either Don or Today says, "Hey, nice stethoscope."
Yeah, he does. That's a nice stethoscope she's got there. Like, Jesus Christ. But no, this one. So Trinity comes out, interference. Now, but the Styles Clash. So this happened to AJ a couple times here and there. The key of the Styles Clash is you just put your head back, even though you're upside down. I can see it gets confusing because you're upside down. Your natural reaction is to tuck your chin. That's what I all do.
Always told in wrestling to tuck your chin.
Yeah,
constantly.
But on this, you can't tuck your chin because tuck, you're doing that, right? Because you're upside down. He's tucking his chin, and he just accordions.
Splat.
Oh my! I'm watching today, and I'm watching while I got it on my desk here, and I go, "Oh my god!" I was like, "What the fuck?" Brutal, absolutely brutal. It looked wicked to me, man. I felt for Kaz. He's one of our listeners online today, and I'm going to put him out because he literally saw the tweet about the show, and his first reaction was, he goes, "Oh my god, it was that Clash, wasn't it?" Like, that was the Clash. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, how do you remember? And big shout out to Just Incredible, who just gave us a shout out about his match and us reviewing it. So thank you, Just Incredible. But I'm going to point this out real quick because we did have a call out on this one. Here it is. And it was by, and if he's listening, Mark Leslie. He later goes, "Oh, this is that Styles Clash, isn't it?"
I believe that's Meat Mark's 6 in the Twitch normally.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's this Clash. It made me cringe, and shit. we'll put it out there when I promote the show over the weekend here. Try to tag Kaz. Maybe we can get a thought from Kaz on this one. But man, it looked wicked.
I'll tell you, I nearly broke out the breaking necks and cash and check shirt, but it seemed to poor taste.
No class, no class over here, no class. We get Russo comes out afterwards, so AJ retains. Russo comes out with the baseball bat. They baseball bat Kaz in the stomach now. So this is the thing now. The baseball bat's happening in the stomach. The internal bleeding is what they're going for. D'Lo makes the save on this one. And red shirt security come out, saves Russo. D'Lo gets on the mic, challenges AJ, says, this is my question. I'm telling you, I'm winning that title. You're not going to get away with this. You're not going to keep pushing me down. I'm coming after you. Great promo by D'Lo. Great promo. Russo says, no, we're going to have an equalize. He's got somebody with him. I'm going to be with him. It's not, you don't get AJ without me. And then D'Lo hints at an equalizer in his corner. We don't know who, though. Any guesses? And we don't know. I haven't watched it yet. Any guesses on who this is? Because I'm thinking debut. I'm thinking new. Yeah. Somebody new. I'm going new. I don't know who. I'm just going to say somebody new. That's going to be interesting to see.
I think it's going to be Sting with the whole baseball bat being involved.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Because the whole baseball bat seems like Sting comes in at some point, and he doesn't have really a story. Well, he's still involved with a Jarrett storyline due to with the Jarrett stuff and all. So I guess that makes as much sense as any. If that, it would have to be somebody up north.
I'm guessing.
We'll see. At the start of the show, Shane did say Raven's going to come back next week. So maybe it's Raven. Sting, Raven. It would all make sense. We'll see.
It all ties in, which will be good. So we'll find out. But that was it, guys. That's NWA-TNA number 52.
Oh, here we go. There you go, Jaybone.
There we go.
Polecat. Thank you, Rex. Yeah.
I had
Rex pays attention to the details.
He does. Rex does. I'm gonna put Rex over. He really gives me a fucking hard time all the time in this chat. Rex, I'm gonna say he watches this show. I think Rex takes his own notes. And you know what? I'm gonna put this out to Rex just so I can break his balls in person. Rex, you ever want to join us for a throwback? You're more than welcome to come out for a throwback. You have been real good about the details that we miss or we might not write down. Rex has them. He's been watching. Rex, you have an open invite with us. You want to come out, do a throwback with us one day. Just call it out. There's not going to be one next. I'm going to put this out there real quick. Next week, we're skipping throwback. It's Christmas. Is that day or eve next week? Thursday.
Christmas Eve.
So we're not going to do a throwback.
Yeah, I will. I may be at a little shindig. I don't know.
Are you going to a show on Christmas Eve?
No. I might be just over at my sister's.
Okay, let's go meatball. Bill's going to go meatball.
And there will be meatballs there.
Go meatball.
I can actually do it. I
want you to do it. I want you to do a bite. I want a recorded bite. A little video for the Twitter. Go meatball. But so Christmas Eve we're gonna skip, guys. We'll do the following. I think the following. What is it? Is it just New Year's Eve then after that too? Where are we at here? Let me look at my count. Yeah, so it's gonna be Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. It might be no throwbacks unless we change days.
If we're bored, that week is, we're not doing much. I'm still technically working. Not much going on, but we might feel a little saucy and do it on a different day. How about that?
It's new. Yeah. That Thursday is New Year's Eve, and the first is the next day. So maybe I don't know. We'll
see. We cap it off nice though at 52 at the year's worth. Right
I'll tell
here
you, for New Year's Eve. Well, but I will be at a show New Year's Eve.
Are you? I was going to say we're not. It's not like anybody's going out to a party.
No. But I was going to be like, because that would be a good time to bring back. Because I'm a big fan of the Knockouts New Year's Eve. Do a little maybe a review of the old Knockouts New Year's Eve.
Listen, if you're home,
and Taylor Wilde and all that, but I am at a show on actual New Year's Eve.
In the evening or what?
In the evening, yeah. I'll be down in Atlanta. Yeah, GCW's running. Well, as of now, running Atlantic City New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
Outdoors?
Indoors.
Oh, they got indoor clearance. Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, how about this? If Bill's show does get canceled, because you never know, it might. But with the holiday stuff, they might be calling stuff off. So if it does get canceled,
it's probably 50-50.
Okay. if Bill's home, we'll do a knockouts thing. Knockouts, we'll do a retrospective. Mark will definitely ask to be on that one. So I'm going to already put that out there to Mark now. He loves the knockouts. So Mark is more than welcome to come on this one. Even Truck, I know if he can make it, they're big knockouts proponents. So we'll do a little knockouts New Year's Eve retrospective. And but we'll let you guys know about next week. With the holiday and everything, it might be a little tricky depending on what people are doing. Jaybone's got, family and stuff going on. I live alone, gentlemen. I have a 7-foot tree for a guy who lives alone. Okay, I'm not doing anything. Maybe I'll just go solo and just lonely podcast with a single candle, just sitting here in a dark room.
So you're saying that's the early TNI shows?
Just sitting here, like I think someone's coming. I think someone's going to be here. Jay, is that you? Is it a mouse going bump in the night? You want to do a podcast with me? Just sitting there lonely, waiting for somebody to. We'll
is it Richard Gere's gerbil?
That's a cut of knife. He's out of here. All right, plugs. Let's get the plugs. So, guys, that's episode 52. We capped off a year's worth here of TNI Throwbacks. 52, Jay and Bill. I'm so happy to be doing that. I have really fucking enjoyed these a lot. It's fun to watch.
It's been a blast, and it's and I'll say this over and over again because it's such a comparison to like what we're seeing now in the wrestling industry, except it's almost 20 years ago with companies and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, it's it's Skull. That's just horrible. That's terrible. Knock on the door and leave.
I want to thank. Terrible. Cold. It's cold. I want to thank Chad E&B for joining us at the top of the show. Remember, guys, the 2-man power trip and the Triple Threat podcast that he does. Also, Eyes Up Here with Francine. We're going to get Chad on again to talk some franchise. And we're going to get him to do a run and get franchise to a run-in with him on the show. That'd be real nice. So,
that would be amazing, especially for this time when he's still and everything. He could compare to this time and everything.
We'll try to. This is a great comment. Suicidal, homicidal, gerbicidal. You wicked son of a bitch. We'll try to do is we'll see if we can get franchise. Chad's in for the head shave episode on Raven. We'll see if we can get franchise in on that one. We'll see if he can pop in with us for a few minutes. Let's get our plugs in. Bill, where can people find you? You're hitting the road tomorrow. You and Pesh hitting the road tomorrow.
No Pesh.
No Pesh.
So this was not a design wrestling trip.
Oh, okay.
This was just Bill's got time off, found the cheap flight, but you know me, I find wrestling if I go somewhere. So I did.
Is there a website you've tapped into that just lists all these shows and
No, I got to search them out. I got to get on the Twitter box and the Spot and the Instaneck. I got to go through all those to get the details because it's tough. I go to my sources, my friends down south and all. I'll be like, hey, is there anything in your area? So I did find 1 to 3 shows I will attend over the next week.
Very nice. Very nice.
But yeah, in the meantime, you can find me Twitter, Instagram, my name at William M. Gardner, Gardner.
Very nice. Jaybone, where can I find you and Smash? Where are you at?
You can find me over that other little podcast called Smash This Podcast, where we're smashing all things wrestling. And speaking of throwback, tomorrow night, Friday night, not doing my typical SmackDown stuff. Oh, no. I hinted at something earlier this week. I put out the cover. I'm going to have fun with this one, folks. We're going to do a throwback. Going to start a little throwback series of my own on Smash This Podcast. Whenever they start bringing back these classic names of the classic TNA days, because they just announced Genesis and a few key matches that are going to happen at this upcoming show on January 9th, I want to say.
Yes, January 9th, Genesis.
9th, the first big show of the next year, a week before Hard to Kill. I am going to do, tomorrow night, Genesis 2005. We're going to do a review.
Wow. Cool. That's a good one, Jay. That's a good one to do right now. I like that. Where can they find Smash?
You can find Smash on YouTube and the Twitch and the Instaneck, the Facebox, and the Twitter box. You can find me on that Twitter box right here, Jaybone5150. That's Jaybone 5150.
Very nice, Jay. And guys in the chat, I'm going to put this on Tuesdays also, Jay. How many people want Jay to start doing audio podcasts again, too? Start putting stuff on audio. God damn it, Jaybone. You can't just be a video guy. It's all about audio. You see how many plays TNI gets on audio? Don't you want this?
You know what? I think we're gonna start doing that in the new year.
All right.
We'll fire up the anchor, and the anchor will just spread it out worldwide.
There you go. Jaybone will be back on audio. It'd be very nice. Jay, you've amassed a little following because with the TNI help here too. Get that on audio. People want to have you in their ears.
Yeah, you could get Jaybone on the go.
Yeah. So get that. So guys, follow Jaybone there. You guys can get me at Trent Zuberry over on Twitter. Also, guys, I'm available on the Backstage Boys podcast I do with Basil, who does a show with Jaybone also on Wednesday nights. We just had the editor-in-chief of PWI, Kevin McElveny, was on with us, and he explained the TNA title controversy, the world title controversy, and along with the NWA and MLW, all that Ring of Honor, he explained it all. If you've been curious about the title controversy that surrounds PWI and Impact Wrestling, I highly recommend go check out the Backstage Boys podcast on Twitch, audio, all the major platforms. Look up the BSB show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. It's out there, guys. I
watched it live. It was a great discussion, guys.
Thank you. No, I think it went really good. I think. Put it this way, Bill. If he changes that listing next year, I think you could thank me and Mazel for that one. I think we put it in his head.
And if he doesn't, I think he has a future date on TNI where we have maybe a debate.
I think so. He'll do it. He was a nice guy. He'll definitely.
No. I definitely think so. So we'll see. I'm giving him until April.
2021 version of the Interrogators.
Yeah, that's right. No interrogators this week. But guys, don't forget the show here.
3 Live Crew instead.
Yeah, that's true. Total nonstop Impact. Polecats. There's my bachelor party for the short-lived wedding that I like to make fun of was at Polecats, by the way. Polecats Strip Club in Chicago. Bill, I'll see you there at some point one day. But the show, guys, all audio platforms, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon. We're on everything. Rate, review, subscribe. Twitch.tv/Total Nonstop Impact. YouTube.com/Total Nonstop Impact. Big thank you for the insane amount of subs. All you new people, holy shit. Thank you guys for joining us on YouTube, man. It's been fantastic. The AEW Impact co-op has really been good to us. A lot of you newbies who have found us through that, thank you. Our play counts have been through the roof. We really, really appreciate you guys a lot. So please continue to check us out. The schedule, as you know, every Thursday is throwback, except the holiday weeks, obviously. Tuesday night, flagship show. This Tuesday, we're opening up the door early. I'm going to open the room early. Twitch will be open at 5 p.m. Central Time. And we're going to get Bison, Joe. We're all going to be in the big family, the big holiday get-together. So we're all being here. Have a good time. Bison has good meatballs. Bison has a big surprise for everybody. He has a couple surprises, actually, for all of us. And he wants them shown on this show. We'll do that. We'll see what Impact's doing for the year-end best of, whatever they're doing. And we'll do a little review at the end. Ingrid will be joining us. She's set to join us that Tuesday. And it's a public hanging. It's a public execution is what it's going to be. So we'll be doing that. But Thursday throwbacks, Sunday nights are the Impact Plus Weekly, talking explosion, around the ring, open forum topics. Tuesday's a flagship show. And then in between, all the specials. We do all the pay-per-views. You name it, we do a bunch of it. We do some dual streams with Jaybone Smash's podcast. A lot going on. TNI is really growing this year, guys. We really appreciate it. And I thank you guys all for it. I really am grateful. I'm thinking about doing the all-nighter, maybe like Wednesday, like the day before Christmas Eve, kind of and I'll be up late type of thing. Maybe open the door here at, maybe open up the Twitch at like 11 o'clock Central, so midnight Eastern. Go to like 6 a.m. Anything sub money, any subs, any type of cheered bits, all going to go to Toys for Tots. That next day we'll donate to Toys for Tots. So putting that out there now, letting you two know right now. I think that's going to be the day I think I'll be free to do it. So it's just going to be a casual, shoot the shit type of thing. Stay as long as you want. Midnight to 6. That's what we'll do. Wednesday night. So that'll be the plan for that. Guys, I think that's going to do it for us. Don't forget to hang out this Sunday night. Impact Plus Weekly. Go check out Explosion. It is out. The match, I believe, is Renee Michelle and Taya Valkyrie, I believe, this week, right? And Mark was saying it's a great match, so check that out, guys. So anyway, we'll see you then. Anything else, boys? Did I forget anything?
So you mentioned Ingrid for next week. I hope she isn't too rough on it. Bang! Yeah.
We'll see you Sunday, everybody. Have a great night. Have a good weekend. Merry Christmas. Get your shopping done. You only got a few fucking days left. Go get your shopping done.
Oh yeah, Adam Impact. He's doing some stuff. Tag him in there. He's giving some stuff away.
Oh yeah. He gave the first one away. He's doing the second one Friday. Tomorrow.
It's Adam Impact. He's his Twitter account is Adam Impact, isn't it? Just confirm that real quick for me.
No, it's like TNA Wrestle Cards or something.
That's right, TNA Wrestle Cards. My bad. TNA Wrestle Cards on Twitter. Go follow the directions he's got. He's giving away Shop Impact merchandise for Christmas. Two items or 2 gift packs. One was given away today. Next one is on Friday. Go do it now. You could be the winner. So at TNA Wrestle Cards on Twitter, our buddy Adam Impact is doing it. So go check it out, guys. That's gonna do it. Go get your shopping done. I haven't done anything. I've done 0 shopping. Not one thing has been bought by me. I gotta go do that like tomorrow. Anyway, guys, have a great night. Well, there it is right there. Oh, before we go, Adam Impact. That's your little plug right there for visual people.
There you go.
Yep. He's got the spirit of Christmas. He's giving away Impact Wrestling merchandise. So go follow him, follow the directions. He's got quite a bit of people on it already. So very cool. All right, guys, that'll do it for us. We'll see you on Sunday. Have a good week, everybody. Stay safe, stay warm. We'll talk to you Sunday.